Hey, welcome back to the part 2 of the Dr. Jimbo Love Show featuring Seth Matthew.
Hey everybody, welcome back.
In tie today. Look back here at our beautiful Betsy Ross flag. I'm telling you, for those of you that don't realize, the Circle of Stars is our original flag sewn by, well, we're not sure because there's been a lot of controversy, but we're going to say history says that it was Betsy Ross who sewed the first flag. A little history for you. The 5-point star was not what George Washington wanted. He wanted a 6-point star. But Betsy Ross, I think, and her seamstress had a way of making stars, the 5-point ones, with one snip. I don't know how she folded it, but it was one snip. And that's why we have a 5-point star and not a 6-point star.
I didn't know that.
Interesting, huh? All right. So we are going to talk in depth about theories we have for why the Super Bowl right now, and we don't know the numbers yet. We'll find out the numbers. They'll give us all of that, all the diagnostics and stuff like that and the metrics. But according to StubHub, this has been the Super Bowl with the least amount of ticket purchases through StubHub.
Yeah.
Now, what have you seen on this at all? And do you have anything you want to introduce just as an introductory part of this whole segment?
So I think a lot of it has to do with, okay, so you're seeing that you have low ticket sales, but at the end of the day, you have a home game. So LA can walk over and buy their tickets at any time. In the past, when you have two teams that are traveling, you have to buy the tickets ahead of time, flights, hotels, everything. But with the Rams as a home game, people can wait till the last minute to get a ticket.
Really? You don't think the Super Bowl is already sold out?
Not with the ticket prices they had. It also comes
What
down,
is the ticket price? Do you know?
So the ticket price it just dropped $1,000. So it was sitting at, like, for second row, sitting at over $5,000. They're now listing in the threes per ticket. So it's still not cheap.
Right.
But I think a big thing that's factoring in here, it's also like the economics of what you're doing here. You have the LA Rams who average median home price for a home is sitting in the 800,000s. Go over to small Cincinnati, Ohio. Average home price is 200,000.
Right.
So you have a way different income base here.
Interesting.
Yeah,
but Cincinnati hasn't been to a Super Bowl in 33 years, right? Am I doing my math correct?
It has been a long time.
34. Well, no, it was 1989 when they lost to the San Francisco 49ers. Mm-hmm. Joe Montana's famous drive and just crushed Cincinnati back in 1988. My brother is a huge Cincinnati fan, and he was a freshman in college. Yes, he was. He was a freshman in college, and I was a senior in college. And I drove up to his college to watch the game with him. And a good thing I did, because he was basically on suicide watch afterwards.
But I think the price and the teams in it are a factor in this, because I myself came from a small town in Minnesota, St. Cloud, Minnesota, where $100,000 got you at home. You didn't need a lot of money to do a lot of things, and I thought, like, certain things I read of, like, Super Bowl tickets, all that, super expensive.
Sure.
Now that I'm in Denver, where things are way more expensive than Minnesota, I don't bat an eye when I see prices like this.
Yeah.
But I think that could have to do with it, where the teams are coming from.
The median home price in Denver right now is over $400,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So when I first got here in 1997, I was in the mortgage industry. I was also an adjunct college professor, and I was bartending too, over at Joe's Crab Shack. Good old Joe's Crab Shack. And when I first got here, the median house price was $187.
Yep.
And so you can see how times have changed, and I think Seth is bringing up an excellent point. The other thing that I wanted to bring up, my point. Are you?
Yeah, no, let's keep going.
Okay. So my point is that Cincinnati's in what we call the Midwest, okay? Ohio is a Midwest state, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the people in the Midwest state don't want to travel to California because of all of the restrictions, the masking, the vaccine mandates. A lot of different factors are playing in. And right now, we're not political at all. We're apolitical. So we don't care what Democrats, Republicans, or even libertarians say about the mask. But I can tell you one thing, is that when people that are non-vaccinated travel to California, there's big issues, okay? And you know, a lot of them, maybe they don't want to show their vaccine. I don't know if they're requiring a vaccine passport to get into SoFi. Are they?
So a lot of like ballerina over here in Colorado, we have to show vaccines.
I had to show mine.
But it could have something to do with that, but it also could just be people are worried. We've had a year and a half of shutdowns, the spread of COVID over and over and over again.
But it's over.
But maybe some people don't want to risk it. They don't want to travel.
No, I agree with Seth on that. I do. And I'm not saying that COVID's over, because I'm not being an insensitive prick to the people that are in hospital right now. That's not true. But I think we've come down to the fact that we know who the risk factors are, okay? Do you realize in this country that people over 65, almost 94% of them are vaccinated with two vaccines, and the boosters, of course, are available. So I don't know. You know, what is going on? Could it be the socioeconomic factors of Cincinnati and people not wanting to spend the money? I don't know. Because if I was a Cincinnati fan, the money wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay? Seriously, I would max out my credit cards. I would be talking to my mortgage broker right now, and if I had to, I'd take an equity loan on my house, okay? A home equity loan. That's how important the Super Bowl would be to me if the Steelers hadn't been in a Super Bowl since 1988.
But what happened to a lot of people, and not everybody, and so I can't say it's all for Cincinnati, because I mean it happened in every state.
Sure.
But there was a lot of shutdowns over this past year, with loss of money. People
had a lot of stimulus money out there too.
But people had to probably re-budget.
Yeah.
Maybe they had to refinance their home just to lower their payment. So there probably is an economical factor that maybe they're recovering still, and they just don't want to spend this type of money when they just got out of a kind of a scary situation when
I agree.
When things close down.
I agree. And see, Seth's from the Midwest. I'm from upstate New York, so my mentality, and granted, I've been here actually as of March 7th of this year, I will have been here 25 years in Denver. That's the longest place I've ever lived in my life, longer than when I lived in upstate New York. But I came from a small town in upstate New York, and you know, the name of the town is called Newark Valley, New York. It's halfway between Binghamton and Ithaca. For those of you guys out there watching the show from good old Newark Valley, shout out to you guys. Get your butt out to Denver. I've been asking you guys to come out for 25 years. Get out here. Matter of fact, if you get out here, you probably won't want to leave. Sure. But you know, the median house price in my area is very close to what you were saying. You know, I don't know if it's 100,000. It's probably somewhere between 100 and 200,000. But you know, I lived in a farming community, and you know what? To spend, how much was it for second row? $5,000.
Yep.
How much for just like a regular ticket that you want to just get in the stadium? It's got to be over $1,000.
That's pretty high. So like, I only saw the two tiers, because I saw if you wanted a like good seat, like kind of down in the action, we're looking at about 18 to 20 grand right now.
18 to 20 grand.
Mm-hmm. So basically, in some states, that's a teacher's first year salary.
Yeah,
so
no, that's too much.
That's
a lot. Too much. That's you know. I don't care. I wouldn't. Okay, so for me, if it was the Steelers playing, and this has been 33 years, like a Bengal fan, I could spend $5 grand. Matter of fact, I would spend $5 grand to go watch the Steelers play. Mm-hmm. And I remember when Denver first got to the Super Bowl in San Diego back in '97, my first year here. They had not won a Super Bowl yet, okay? So this was a Super Bowl-less town, kind of like Minneapolis.
Yep.
And just like Buffalo, you know, and my heart goes out to both of those cities, and Detroit, and any place that has not won a Super Bowl that's had a team since the inception of the AFL-NFL merger. Because I'm telling you, when the Steelers won the Super Bowl in 2005, it was this 2005 season, it was 2006, Jerome Bettis, it was in Detroit. After they won the Super Bowl, you know, and I'm excited and I'm high-fiving everybody, I walked out on the patio of the party that I was at, and I cried. I did. I wept, because it was such a feeling of relief. And I hadn't won a Super Bowl. My team hadn't won a Super Bowl since I was 12 years old in 1979. I was still playing Little League Baseball. And here I was, an adult, and I was out there crying like a baby. And I don't care. You know what? The Steelers meant that much to me, and they still do. And I bet you, I want to be with Seth if the Minnesota Vikings win a Super Bowl, because I want to see his face. It is an absolute magical feeling when your team wins it.
I'm glad you brought up this point. Another reason why the LA Rams may have a terrible output for their team. How long have they been there? They're not this long-lasting team. They were the St. Louis Rams. They came over.
But they were the LA Rams before that.
Oh, but either way, a lot of their teams...
Matter of fact, the Steelers beat them in 1979 with Vince Ferragamo. And I believe Chuck Knox was the coach. I can't remember exactly. But in 1979, they were the LA Rams. So they've been the LA Rams for quite a while.
My thing with it is you have a bunch of teams in California. Before the Raiders moved out of California and they went over to Vegas, I thought California was all Raiders. I don't see Chargers fans. I don't see Rams fans.
Remember they were in Oakland, then they went to LA.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
And then they went back to Oakland.
The Raiders are the team of California.
Well, now the Chargers have been in San Diego for a long time, but the problem with San Diego, and the reason why the Chargers left San Diego, is that nobody in San Diego really cares that much about the team, and they were having problems getting a new stadium.
And I'm seeing right now is it could be the same thing with the Rams right now. I mean, they don't have the diehard following that you see out here in Colorado with the Broncos.
Not many places do.
Exactly.
Though. Seriously.
And so,
one thing about being in Denver, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's good.
I know let Seth finish his point, but the Denver Bronco fans, I will give you this much: you're obnoxious. You're not fair. You're not very fun to be around if you're not for the Broncos, but you're loyal. Mm-hmm. And you know what? That stadium's been sold out for how many freaking consecutive games?
Yeah, it takes like 20 years just to get. Oh no, it's good. But I think the big thing here with the Rams is like Tampa Bay. They had, I mean, ever since Tom Brady, they had the bandwagon. They knew they were going to win it. But they've had a decent fan base, and I think maybe the Rams just have a weaker fan base. If they did a geographic thing, obviously Minnesota's going to light up with purple. They're going to be Vikings.
But there's a line
for
right
New
there.
York. I'm going to see probably the Giants over the Jets just because of recent success.
Yeah.
But teams with multiple teams, so you could even throw in. We could say the Raiders are still there. We could say Chargers are there. The Rams are there. It's most likely going to be Oakland, and I don't think the Rams or the Chargers ever compared to their fan base in California.
Interesting.
So even though it's a home game,
well, we'll have to ask. You know what? We'll ask our fans out there in California. What do you think? If you agree with Seth or not, make sure you leave us some comments. And we appreciate the comments that have been coming in. Greatly appreciated, especially from Thailand. Mm-hmm. My buddy has us on a podcast over there. We're big in Thailand.
Yeah. But as much as I want to say that maybe it's just they don't have the diehard fans. It's not saying that they don't have fans like me.
Right.
I'm rooting for Matt Stafford, Von Miller, those guys. I really want to see the Rams win it, and I think there's a lot of people now that their teams are eliminated are rooting for the Rams. But when you're not a diehard fan, to drop $5,000 to $18,000 on a game, that one hurts. Now, if the Avs go to the Stanley Cup, 100% I'm getting a ticket to at least one of the games in that series.
Right.
But I think it's a lot to ask if you don't have a diehard fans too.
You're right. And you know what? Cincinnati, I'm surprised because I would have thought that Cincinnati the whole city would have wanted to come to this game. But it's interesting. Now, let me ask you a quick question. You got Minnesota Vikings that are right there almost on the border of Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. Then you have Wisconsin, which is just completely Green Bay.
Yep.
When I was in Minneapolis, there was this line, this invisible line that and it wasn't a state line, okay, where the Minnesota fans ended and the Green Bay started going east.
Yeah.
And I would go over to Eau Claire and Chippewa Falls a lot, which is directly across from Minneapolis and St. Paul, the Twin Cities. And I'd go into some of these small towns because one thing great about Wisconsin is every town has 8 or 9 churches, and they also have about 4 or 5, sometimes even as many bars. So there's always friendly people there to talk to. But some of these places in Wisconsin, when I first come across the border, were Viking bars.
Yep. So
what do you think?
So they're a good mix. So when I was running a bar I was running the Brothers up in St. Cloud, Minnesota.
Right.
When it came to game day, Green Bay, Minnesota, I would say we're about a 50-50 split because we also do a lot with colleges going back and forth. So U of M, Wisconsin, people are interchangeable there. We also have a good relationship with North Dakota. And so you always get those people. And you got to remember, we're surrounded by North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa, all
Canada. Don't forget Canada.
Well, and Canada, but I picked those states because those are states without football teams.
I'm teasing.
So they split.
Oh, there's football up in Canada, right?
Well, no,
oh, it's called
there.
soccer, right? No, actually, Canadian football. If any of you have never seen a Canadian football league game, have you watched it?
Johnny Manziel.
Oh, I love it. Back when ESPN first started in 1980, 81-ish, they didn't have the contracts that they have today. So we'd come home from school and we'd watch Australian rules football, which, by the way, is another incredible
that's
sport.
a great game.
Oh, my God. As a matter of fact, we learned all the rules because, we were just so excited to see sports. And the CFL was on, okay? So we had the Toronto Argonauts and the Winnipeg team. And the cool thing about Canadian football is they only get 3 downs, okay? And they have to go 11 yards, which is 10 meters. So it's a totally different game. The field is the old end zone, the way that the NFL used to have. Instead of it being only 10 yards deep, there's a whole area behind the actual field goal post. So you can run picks off the field goal post, which is pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Anyways, well, excellent. So what else do you think could be a factor and why Cincinnati doesn't seem to be traveling well? Now, our argument's all null and void if all of a sudden there's been a big, huge bunch of people that are driving out to Cincinnati, because right now they're checking flights, okay, and they're checking hotel bookings, and they're checking StubHub. That's the only data that we have.
Well, and the other thing it could be too. So what they predict right now, tickets dropped $1,000. That if they continue, if they continue this trend, you might be able to get in for $2,000 if this holds.
Well,
so
why do you think they dropped?
They'll still sell out because we're getting closer and closer to the event, and people aren't buying tickets because.
So the stadium's not full?
As of right now, you can still get tickets.
What's it seat? 70,000, someone told me.
Yeah, so it seats a lot too. And so, I mean,
well, that's not a lot.
At the end of the day, you're going to fill the stadium.
Right. There's not a 70,000 is a small stadium. Okay. Most of the SEC stadiums here are like South Carolina seats, I think 83 to 85,000. Now, when I was there, it was only 70,000. They built more things on. So for a Super Bowl venue, I would say 70,000 is pretty small. Now, we'll check and find out, and some of you can fact check us and look it up and give us an exact number. But if it's only 70,000, that's not much.
I mean, looking at a lot of sporting events, I mean, you look at college hockey, anything like that, they can barely get 4,000 at TU.
Yeah, but this is the Super Bowl.
It is the Super Bowl.
It's the Super Bowl. It's the biggest sporting event in the United States. And it's basically, they're trying to lobby right now to give us off on Monday, to make it a national holiday and give us off, and I am all for it. Because I would really like either they change it from Saturday to Saturday and they call it Super Bowl Saturday, and then we have Sunday off to recover, because the game doesn't start here in Denver till 4:30. That's 6:30 on the East Coast, 3:30 on the West Coast, and people are. It's a day celebration.
Yeah, you got to get there early. You got to get if you're not going to watch it at Brothers. You got to get the crock pots going. You got to get the mini weenies. You got to get it all cooked. It is. I love this more than pretty much any holiday because it's football.
Yep.
It's drinking. It's having good food and just relaxing with your friends. Because even if your team's not in it, like mine's not in it, hasn't been in it for quite a while, but so there's no pressure on me. Hey, I honestly don't care who wins.
Did you play for Minnesota Vikings this year?
No, but there's
but there was
diehard
pressure on
fans.
you?
It hurts. Well, I'll tell you, the day that the miracle happened, the miracle throw to Stephon Diggs.
Oh, the miracle! Don't confuse it with the actual miracle of 1980.
But the miracle throw that Minnesota was trying to go to the Super Bowl.
That was great.
Minnesota fans were all sitting there because we had just gone down and we'd been winning the whole game. We're like, all right, here we go. Everybody was so defeated, and then that catch happened, and it was one of the most exciting moments. Still fell short of the Super Bowl, but just a great.
Who was the guy who caught him? Number 14, right?
Stephon Diggs.
Okay, well, I'm not a Minnesota
I just
fan.
said it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's Stephon Diggs. Now I'm Buffalo.
Stephon Diggs. He's at Buffalo now. Yeah, exactly. I know that.
We got Justin Jefferson now.
Okay, so, again, I can't tell you how much my heart goes out because Seth has not experienced something that I've been fortunate enough to be a part of 6 different times. The Steelers have lost 2 Super Bowls. Okay, they lost in 1995 to Dallas, and they lost to the Green Bay Packers in 2010. I call it the 2010. It was 2011 Super Bowl. And I'll be honest with you, when they lost to the Cowboys in 95, I also shed a tear because it was the first time that I had seen my team in the big game and lose. And the way they lost that game, where even to this day, people still believe that Neil O'Donnell was paid off because he threw 2 interceptions to the same guy when there was nothing there. Okay? So that was really hard for me to handle. Now, losing to Aaron Rodgers in the Super Bowl after the 2010 season wasn't so hard because Aaron Rodgers had such a good game and Ben had such a horrible game that when it came down to it, I said to myself, you know what? I didn't play. I didn't play in the game. I watched it. I'm really happy we made it to the Super Bowl. But I had a bitter feeling in my mouth for the next year. Yeah. And that's the hardest part. One of these teams' fan bases is going to have to go through the off season. Now, that's why, again, I hope for the Rams. Because the Rams fans, again, they have really nothing to... They're in trouble.
Yeah.
Right? They're in trouble to try to maintain this team. Cincinnati, if they lose, they're going to look back at this season. They were supposed to only win, according to Vegas, 6 games this season. So they've already overperformed.
Well, and what they're going to look at, so when the Rams win, they'll be like, oh, well, they had a superstar team. They should have done it.
Right.
For the Bengals, they have a young team that they're basically going to be like, hey, we have something to build on. We made it this far now. They're only going to get better because you have second-year quarterback and a first-year wide receiver. They're going to.
You think?
And they're going to be setting this. They have hopes to set a standard. Now, this could be a one-year Cinderella story.
Yeah,
and they go back to where they were.
I think because it's the Bengals.
But since the Bengals have been bad for so long. But
exactly. Why would we think that they were ever going to be anything but just a flash in the pan?
Because Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are giving people hope.
What if Joe Burrow gets hurt again?
He could.
What if Jamar Chase holds out?
I mean, you look at Russell Wilson. He tanked this year because he got injured.
I hate to bring my Steelers up again, but we were supposed to be really, really good. We had Ben, we had Le'Veon Bell, and we had Antonio Brown. And what happened? The season that we would have, hands down, could have just blown everything out. What happens? Antonio Brown pulls his garbage, and Le'Veon Bell holds out. So you never really know. And I'm not trying to be negative here, but I'm not a Cincinnati Bengals fan, okay? I think it's great what they've done. But you know what? It's time for them to take their medicine. And I think they're gonna.
But the best part is, this is the best part. A typical line you would probably say is, act like you've been there before. They haven't.
Well,
not in a
neither
long time.
team has.
Well, the Rams, though, have built... Von Miller, you won a Super Bowl.
Wait, yeah, but that's
like
2015, man.
Sean McVay and all them, they've been to the Super Bowl. They made the Super Bowl and lost to the Patriots, so they've been here.
I agree. Okay, I see what you're saying.
And so, but
it'd be interesting to look up, and you guys can do this at home. How many players that are on the current Rams roster were on the Rams roster when they were in the Super Bowl? And then look and find out how many of those are position players that actually are involved. You know, and when I say position players, I'm talking about quarterback, running back, tight end, wide receiver, linebackers, kick returners. You know, all that kind of stuff that can possibly score.
Yeah, but I'm saying it. Honestly, I think the Rams are going to win. But if the Bengals are a flash in the pan, hopefully they win because at the end of the day, they won't make it back. I mean, you look at the Montreal Canadiens in NHL. Where were they last year? The Stanley Cup. Where are they now? Dead last.
Really?
So, and they didn't win the Stanley Cup. So, unfortunately, they didn't get that championship. Canada has been on a huge drought.
He just brought up a great point. Seth just brought up there is this thing called the Super Bowl hangover. Mm-hmm. Have you heard it?
I have.
The team that loses the Super Bowl usually doesn't make the playoffs the next year, and there's some kind of stat out there that shows it. Because
Atlanta.
Yes, Atlanta was up 28-3.
It's Tom Brady's screensaver.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's Natty Ice, Matty Ice, or Natty Ice, whatever you want to call him, Matty Ice. That was the downfall of Matt Ryan. Mm-hmm. And I don't think Matt Ryan has ever recovered from that Super Bowl loss. And it wasn't his fault, okay? It was his defense that collapsed. And it was the great coaching of Bill Belichick I will give him credit for that because I'm not a big fan of his, but I do give credit where credit is due. And it is where I was convinced that Tom Brady was the GOAT. That's what convinced me. Now, I had been a holdout because I can't stand the Patriots. I can't stand them.
Was it before they started winning, though?
No, see, you gotta remember, it's relative to me. I watched the Patriots back in 1985 with Steve Grogan, okay, and Russ Francis, okay? They made it to the Super Bowl and they got crushed, okay? I also watched them in the Drew Bledsoe era, which Drew Bledsoe was the quarterback that got hurt. And then Tom Brady stepped in, and they never gave Bledsoe another chance again. Bledsoe was moved to the Bills, okay? And Drew Bledsoe was the man, the myth, the legend. And he was supposed to be the savior for the Patriots. And Tom Brady, the dark horse, the 6th-round draft pick, came out of nowhere and basically caught lightning in a bottle and sustained it for his entire career.
Yeah.
I still don't, I can't fathom.
See, I find out where I most likely don't like teams is when I see you consistently in the same spot, like in the championship, because then I'm like, let somebody else
Joe
in.
Montana was a very, very late draft pick as well. And he came out of Notre Dame, 1979 graduate. Nobody saw Joe Montana coming. Okay, it wasn't until he rolled right and threw the pass to Dwight Clark against the Dallas Cowboys in the 81 NFC Championship that anyone even knew who the heck San Francisco 49ers were. Remember, their defense was headed by Ronnie Lott. Okay, Ronnie Lott is a stud. Okay, he was a bad man, and he's still a great announcer and a great person. But anyways, that all started everything for the 49ers in the 80s. The decade of the 80s was dominated by the San Francisco 49ers. They won, 4 Super Bowls, right? Joe Montana was the MVP of every single Super Bowl.
And then it led to the Cowboys.
Well, the Cowboys started in 1990. They dominated the 1990s. They won 3 Super Bowls in 5 years. And then what did Jerry Jones do? Hey, Jerry Jones, how you doing out there, buddy? What did you do? You fired your best friend from college. Okay, Jimmy Johnson. You had another bunch of Super Bowls left in you, but your arrogance, okay, your pride has cost you. And you know what? Karma. You guys still haven't been able to be consistent or do anything for the last how many years? And you know what? Every time you lose Jerry Johnson, or Jerry Jones, Jimmy Johnson, both from Arkansas. They played on a national championship team for Arkansas back in the 60s, okay? What has happened to you every single time? Hey, Tony Romo. By the way, Tony Romo, you choked in your broadcast just like you choked holding that snap against Seattle. Again, we call it out how we see it here. We don't sugarcoat. Sorry about that. I'm going to get off my soapbox. All right, so what's going to happen? Is there going to be all of a sudden a surge of Cincinnati fans coming in? What do you think?
You know what? I think it's going to be, no matter what, they're going to sell out. Is it going to definitely feel like a home game for the Rams? I think it is, but you know what? Cincinnati will make it there. They will be represented. I'll be looking at the stands, seeing who's there. I mean, if the London game can produce Jacksonville Jaguar fans, I'm sure the Super Bowl can get some Cincinnati.
Yeah, but we're still trying to figure out how all those jerseys showed up.
Go
back and watch one of our October shows, and we have a couple theories about that game. You know, what was it, the Jets and Jaguars?
Yeah, and
all of a sudden they all had jerseys. Oh my God, was there a Dick's Sporting Goods store that just opened up in the parking lot selling the jerseys? Or were they just happened to be sitting on the seats because the NFL was like, look, we got to put something in the stands because they're all going to wear soccer jerseys.
Which would have been pretty cool. And it's football.
It is football. So what's your favorite, tell us a little bit, let's do a little aside here. Seth is a huge English Premier League soccer player. What is your favorite team? And tell us real quick, because we have some extra time, but what is your favorite teams over there? And what league? Is it Man U?
Yeah, so Manchester United is the team I grew up watching because my brother was a big fan. I've stuck with them. They haven't been dominant of late. But you know what? It's really cool to see now. There's some Americans over there. For the longest time, American soccer has really been lagging behind everybody because we decided, hey, our American players, we should just keep him in the MLS. It was lesser competition, and when we got to the world stage, we get crushed.
Yep.
Now we have basically Team USA is all playing in the high levels. Christian Pulisic's playing for Chelsea, and you just have some amazing players over
How's
there.
Liverpool?
Liverpool is they just had a game against Crystal Palace yesterday.
Okay.
That they ended up winning. Man U tied this morning. That was terrible.
Okay.
They've really been struggling. They just got Cristiano Ronaldo.
So they're playing
back.
right now?
Yeah, soccer goes on right now. So
I didn't realize that.
English Premier, it pretty much goes all year. There's so many tournaments. You have the regular season tournament. You have the Champions League. You have the FA Cup. There's so many little off tournaments that they basically play year round. There's really not a down time for soccer.
And you know what? Those stadiums are packed. You got the soccer hooligans, you know, that I love. And I know some people. I was down in Clearwater, Florida for a vacation back in 2017. Actually, I was there working for the hurricane, and I also did a little bit of vacation in Clearwater Beach. The family I hung out with were from Liverpool originally. They live here in Denver, and I'm still friends with them. You know, I still see them. And anyway, so they're huge Liverpool fans. They hate Man U.
Yep. Nope. Yeah, the rivalries there are great. My fiance's actually a big Liverpool fan.
Is she?
Yeah, she is.
Shy is?
Yep, she followed Liverpool the whole way.
Shy's a smart girl.
My nephew's a Chelsea fan, and so I just had to send him a Christian Pulisic jersey for his birthday.
Right on.
But yeah, so it is just, I love soccer. The great thing about soccer is you wake up early in the morning, you get to watch sports before you go to work, because those games typically, if it's regular season, you're watching at 7, 8 in the morning.
And he's up.
Yep.
I know he's up because I drive by his house and his lights are all on. I'm just kidding. I really don't stalk you. Anyway, Seth and I found out after we started doing the show together that we actually live in the same neighborhood.
Yeah,
you know,
too far.
we have one big street. You know, 56 is between us. But yeah, we live close enough to walk to each other's house. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to try to stop walking over and looking in your windows. Is that okay?
That's fine.
I'm sure Shai will appreciate it. But anyways, hey, Super Bowl weekend, college hockey, you've got the Olympics. This is a great weekend to be watching TV. Denver, we've got snow out there. It was 19 degrees when I woke up this morning, okay? It's a great day to stay in, stay with your loved ones, hold them close, get yourself ready for the big game tomorrow. But let's not forget to watch and support our Olympic athletes, especially our women. I'm very proud of Chloe Kim. She's won 2 golds, okay? I'm very proud of what's her face there? Let me find her name. Hang on. She's the one who won the mixed doubles. It's Jacobellis. 36-year-old, I think the best female snowboarder in the world. And then, of course, Baumgartner, 40-year-old male. This is his last Olympics. He wins a gold. He gets to go out on the top of the pedestal. Shaun White, you should have probably finished in 18 when you won the gold, but we're glad you stuck around. And you know what? You're a good guy. You've done a great job taking your sport to the next level, which is the half pipe. Yeah, hats off to you, and congratulations on just an excellent career. You're 35 years old. You get to live the rest of your life as a retired snowboarder and never work another day in your life. Congratulations, you earned it.
Yeah, and to everyone out there, we'll have the Olympics playing up until UFC. We have UFC tonight, so come on down to Brothers.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about Brothers.
And then we'll also have, obviously we're showing the Super Bowl, throwing a great party tomorrow. So we're going to have some
stop over.
We have some great specials going before the game. If you want to come in and, have a few drinks, we have bottomless mimosas for $15.
Ooh, my wife wants that.
There you go.
No, wait a minute. Are you going to work? Are you working the Super Bowl?
I'll be here.
You're working the Super Bowl?
I probably won't be here for the Super Bowl, but I'll be up leading up. Yep, I'll be here in the morning.
Right.
I'll get your pregame on. And then I'll have Renato and Felipe come on and take care of you through the game.
Good. Well, I'm going to come over and see you during because it's a long lead up, and we've got all our prep done at our house.
Yeah.
And don't forget, Pro Comfort Medical. Go on our website, Pro Comfort Medical. Get yourself a free pair, no cost free pair of orthotic shoes. Get it. Tell your parents, your grandparents about it. Tell your aunts and uncles. All they have to have is Medicaid, Medicare. Most people at the age of 62 get Medicare, and their supplemental insurance. Doesn't matter who they're with. Kaiser, United Health, whatever. You just have to look at the card and see if it says it's a PPO. Okay, there's only 2 types. There's an HMO and a PPO. PPO gets you your free pair of shoes. HMO, hey, we'll still hook you up, but there's a little bit of a caveat you got to do. 2 referrals, no big deal, and I'll explain that to you at the seminar at Heather Gardens at 11 o'clock on Wednesday. All right, folks. Seth, I'm going to let Seth take us out. Anything else you have to say?
No, come on down and we'll have a lot of fun. We'll have great drink specials and we'll throw the best party.
Absolutely. Hey, remember, get out there, get your side hustle on, okay? And earn it, as they say in Saving Private Ryan. Tom Hanks' character said what as he was dying? Earn it. Get out there and earn it.
See you, everybody.